Hello, it's Zach. I did The World Is Not a Rectangle, a portrait of architect Zaha Hadid by Jeanette Winter for my book talk. And Zaha Hadid was an Iraqi woman who obviously was an architect, but largely inspired by what she saw in her childhood in the world around her: sand dunes, water, religious prints, and so forth. That earned her the name the 89-degree architect, basically because she would never use a 90-degree angle. Or also the queen of the curve, which is not generally associated with large scale architecture. That it was associated, curves obviously associated more with art and beauty and not with, engineering, math, and architecture. But she was able to combine those two things in an incredible way, that she was really able to use math as a tool and architecture as a tool to make beauty in the world, to the point where even a German engineering company in BMW made their headquarters, asked her to do their headquarters for them. And it is not the most spatially efficient building in the world, from a company who's very, very obviously concerned with efficiency in their cars. But that they recognized the importance of that beauty that she could bring and how inspiring that could be to not only the people that work there, but people around the world and their brand. And I love the fact that she's able to sort of make this art out of math in something that's not thought about enough, I think. And I mean, she's famous all over the world. She's done stuff everywhere and stuff that doesn't, again, make spatial sense necessarily. She's worked in Dubai, which made the towers in Dubai, which are probably the most famous thing she's done. The picture shown is the Guangzhou China Opera House, which is probably one of the most famous opera houses in the world next to Sydney. She worked in Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, London. She built bridges across the world. And she used math as a tool to accomplish this. She saw what she was inspired by around her. She loved curves. She loved these shapes. She loved sort of the things she saw around her and wanted to make the world more that way. Which this could be a parallel for anything else. This doesn't have to be something that is in spatial recognition or architecture. If you're inspired by something around you or think the world needs to be changed or very convinced it needs to be changed in some way around you, you can use math to those ends. I mean, imagine the use or the imagine the persuasiveness of an argument if you have math behind it and you can prove something numerically to somebody instead of just giving them your opinion. And if they ask you why, well, that's how I feel. Well, you can feel a certain way, and of course that's important, but if you have math behind you, you're more likely to convince other people as well. So any sort of like social problems, even getting into this country, I mean, when you can show numerically racial issues, it's convincing. It is very compelling and can get people more likely to act, especially when you can measure now the change in it instead of people's feelings about change. So I think that she can inspire people in all those kinds of ways. And also that she was like I said, probably the most famous architect in the world now, and she was rejected time after time early in her career before she got very famous because she was a woman from Iraq. I mean, basically old white men around the world rejected her and her designs because of that, and also because they thought, she was so radically different. They were like, there's no way this can work. These designs are untenable. Of course they weren't. She was incredibly intelligent, and they work today, and she's inspired a new generation of architects. But she was so far out there at the time that people couldn't even fathom it, but she had to keep working. Is the other thing. She's an inspiration on a work ethic as well, because she didn't give up. She didn't go down to sort of a regular architectural style. She stuck to her guns in a way and changed architecture around the world and brought these new designs to people everywhere. So I encourage you all to look into her more and to look into other people who have used math in this way and in an artistic way, and not just the mathematicians who have solved P equals NP and who have done other incredibly technical things to help out people, which they have, but this can be relevant in so many bigger ways, I feel like, than figuring out things about neuron colliders. So I hope that you do that. Have a good day.